Well, race 6 is the Onkaparinga Cup, and gee, talking of strong chances, Double Gin should lead all the way, but there's some good form coming into this race. Particularly, Kevin Sattler mentioned there's a battle royal in the betting ring between Double Gin and Merino Explorer. The 2 runs of Merino Explorer to be 2.9 lengths behind Storm Wedge over 1,100 metres at his first run back from a spell, and then he was coming home well in his second run, only just over 4 lengths behind Faraday. His form reads pretty well for this race.
Yes, horses are up behind the barrier. There's Merino Explorer there. He's a good type of horse. The longer the races get, the better he'll go, and the small field will certainly suit him. He'll be running on very strongly. Water Boatman, number 1 there in your screen, is an imported galloper. He came out from England. He was one of those that was sent out with the idea of maybe winning the Melbourne Cup last year. And he didn't quite measure up to Melbourne Cup standards, but he certainly has developed into a very handy sort of a handicapper. Trouble is he meets Double Gin on 5 kilograms worse terms today for beating it by a nose last start.
And this has probably been his best preparation, but prior to that he's been rather costly to punters, hasn't he? He's struggled for consistency.
He certainly has. I think he was gelded late last year as a last-ditch effort to try and settle him down.
Not only that, that'll teach him a lesson.
Yes. Double Gin, though, is only a youngster. There he is there in your screen, number 2, in the spectacular colours. He loves to go out in front, and he finds something when the other horses get alongside. He's one of those horses, like Vogue, that doesn't like to be beaten. He's being led around there just to keep him nice and quiet and under control.
Well, in actual fact, at their last start, when he did run second to Water Boatman, most punters and people at the track did think that Double Gin had held on, but you can't question the photo finish. It showed that Water Boatman was victorious in that particular encounter. Now, we looked at KG tipped Lap It Up, number 8, and you gave that a good each-way chance, Ray.
Yeah, good honest horse. It will run the journey out quite well, Lap It Up. And his last couple of runs have been an improvement. And if there is to be a surprise, Kim, it could come from Lap It Up. But I thought Double Gin and also Merino Explorer represented a bit better class.
Yes, and of course, as you mentioned, Water Boatman with that extra weight. But Lap It Up ran second to Trim Folly, and it came from a long, long way back. So it may be well worth having a look at. There he is there in the double blue colours, to be ridden by Peter Shepherd, one of South Australia's more experienced jockeys.
He rides very light. He can ride at about 50, and he's very strong with it. So that's a big advantage too. And Shanghai Sky, the one Kev Sattler liked, number 4, you'll see her in a moment in the black and pink quarters. She travelled pretty wide on Saturday and didn't have a lot of luck in the race. And Kevin obviously believes that if she's ridden a bit closer to the rails, that she can do better. There she is, and a nice relaxed mare. Got the blinkers on as well. Ears pricked, so she's attentive. She's feeling good and most relaxed at this stage.
And of course, Double Gin and Merino Explorer also wearing blinkers. There's a number of horses wearing them today, and that's obviously because of the distractions caused by the crowd.
Yes, blinkers have the effect of livening a horse up. It makes them concentrate. They don't look at the other sights, and that's really important here, Kim, when you understand that the horses are going to have crowd hanging over the fence. They shout at them, they scream. They're not used to racing within a metre or two of people. And I think it's fantastic that these horses do the job without taking fright at all the scenery.
Well, Double Gin's to be ridden today by Glenn Darrington, an apprentice. He's a non-claiming apprentice, and so too with Merino Explorer with Justin Sheehan. So that obviously speaks volumes of their riding capability, that the Connections opted to use an apprentice, even though knowing that they can't claim when they had the option of using a more senior rider.
Yes, it gets back to the idea of a team. They understand each other well, and they're prepared to give away the disadvantage of not having a claim.
Well, as we mentioned, there's only 8 horses in the race. It's the General Motors Holden's Onkaparinga Cup. It's over 1,150 metres, and Ron Papps is your caller.
No Explorer, the General Motors Holden Onkaparinga Cup. An attendant busy with Water Boatman and Merino Explorer to keep them apart. They're inclined to lay in on each other. Another attendant gives a hand, straightens Merino Explorer, who ducked his head right at the crucial moment. They're away this time. Merino Explorer jumped away fairly with Water Boatman. They're angling across. Not a lot of pace on. Double Gin is keen to get to the lead, now quickens things up from Lipmond, the inside, Shanghai Sky and Ancroft Lad as they work down the home straight to the judge with just over a circuit to go. Lipmond is making Double Gin work to the post, and Double Gin drew a half 3/4 in front of Lipmond, who's kicking up with him, but Double Gin now crosses over. The TAB favourite had to do some work to get there. Lipmond second, 4 lengths away. Then came Roman Gunner. He's third in the next next pack with Shanghai Sky, Water Boatman, then Lap It Up. Around him goes Ancroft Lad, but it's very wide. And Merino Explorer is last of all as they go to Peter Smith on the hill.
And as they go towards the 1400 metre mark, it's Double Gin by a length and a half in second, placing Lipmond. Roman Gunner was third on the outside, Water Boatman 3 back. Further back in the field, then Lap It Up. He just had to grab hold there. Out wider on the track would have been Shanghai Sky, drifting back a bit now from Ancroft Lad. And as they go towards the 1100 metre mark, Merino Explorer last of all.
And the leader in the General Motors Holden Onkaparinga Cup is Double Gin, the TAB Fancy. By a length, the Lipmond away from the rail. Now, Water Boatman is sliding up behind them very leisurely. He looks to be travelling well, Water Boatman. 2 lengths, Roman Gunner, Lap It Up, Shanghai Sky. A length and a half away, Ancroft Lad. Now, Merino Explorer is still 3 lengths away, clearly last. He'd be about 10 off the lead. Now they come down the hill, and the leader is Double Gin, a length and a half. Water Boatman's got the run he was waiting for. He slides after Double Gin, a length away, Lipmond under pressure. Lap It Up went to third, and now he's not fooling around on Merino Explorer anymore. He's cut loose down the hill, and he's swamping them out wide. Here's a race developing now in the GMH Cup as they turn for home. 400 to go. Double Gin by 1 length, Water Boatman, 1.5 Merino Explorer. Lap It Up was fourth. They were followed further back by Lipmond. Merino Explorer, Water Boatman grabbed Double Gin. Water Boatman in the centre goes to the lead. Merino Explorer is struggling now. Then Double Gin. Water Boatman in front is going to win the cup, I think. He's holding Double Gin, and Water Boatman, ridden a beautiful race by Peter Hutchinson, slugs it out to the wire to score a length and a half, Double Gin. A half away third, the outside Merino Explorer. 3 lengths away, Lap It Up. 3 lengths then to Lipmond, Ancroft Lad, Shanghai Sky.
And there's the unofficial winner at number 1, Water Boatman. Everyone thought that the weight would be too much, 57.5, but Ray, that was the ride of the day by Peter Hutchinson.
Certainly was. He drew the outside barrier, missed the start by a length, went across to the inside, and was always sitting in behind Double Gin, who had to work very hard to get to the front. He pulled out as they straightened up and has gone away to lead by about half a length. Double Gin wouldn't give in, but at the finish, Water Boatman was going far too well. Merino Explorer loomed up on the bend, Kim, but he just couldn't go on with it in the straight.
Yes, he had to go 4 and 5 wide. The lad sat back. It was a patient ride by Justin Sheehan, but Water Boatman was just far too strong. And you mentioned prior to the race, Ray, that Double Gin, one thing it does do is try and win, and it really did stick on well there to finish in second position.
Considering the work it did early. But Water Boatman, who's by Main Reef, who was the son of Mill Reef, who's probably one of the greatest horses ever in racing history.
And beautiful odds, I believe Kevin Sattler said he saw down there about 35 to 10. And there'll be a few happy people there if they followed the form. And as I mentioned earlier, Water Boatman far more consistent this preparation. And as Ray mentioned, a magnificent ride by Peter Hutchinson. And there's no real excuses for the beaten brigade.
No, Double Gin did have to work very hard to get to the front. The lightweight Lipmond went with him, but after that he had every chance. And Colin Hayes has won the big double so far. Harry D. Young, and now the Onkaparinga Cup.
Yes, and he'll be looking forward to the next race, the Great Eastern. And there's a very happy Peter Hutchinson on number 1, the top weight. He came from barrier 11, 57.5 kgs. Most people thought it would be too much. He was conceding 4 kilograms to Double Gin and 5 kilograms on the last time that they met. But he proved too strong after some beautiful positioning by the jockey, Peter Hutchinson, and timed that run to perfection. And of the beaten brigade, Lap It Up looked to have a pretty good run, but just couldn't go on with it.
Yeah, Shanghai Sky was 3 wide again all the way. I'd say Merino Explorer, when he gets back to Morfordville and a little bit longer journey, probably be a little bit happier. He just had to get going a bit early and a little bit too wide.
Yeah, and if you were involved with Merino Explorer, would have you been pleased with that ride?
Oh yes, I think he only just weakened over the last 200 on his run. Still went to the line quite well, and I'd say everything's going to plan with him.
Well, Kevin Sattler's down on the parade ring once more.
Representing Colin Hayes, the trainer of the winner of Water Boatman is Tony McAvoy. Tony, you're the stable foreman. That's Colin's 8th Onkaparinga Cup six.
Yes, Kev, it's another great win today and a superb ride by Peter Hutchinson. And the horse had a slight advantage. He has been around Epsom in England, so he handled the hill very well.
Yes, so you've seen Epsom, I've seen it,
yes.
And it is not unlike Oakbank in many ways.
Not unlike it at all, and so it's great to... Didn't get the Epsom Derby, but he's got the Oakbank Cup, which is lovely.
Now, amazing odds the horse got out to. Why was that?
Well, I suppose the people thought with the extra kilo that Double Gin got away from us from his last run, and he just failed to beat us, and they thought him as a leader might be suited around Oakbank here, but unfortunately for us, it didn't work out that way.
Now, Tony, you're an outstanding apprentice rider. weight stopped you from continuing your career. You are actually the foreman for Colin, or will be for David when he takes over as well.
That's correct, yes.
I believe you're getting married shortly. When?
Yes, June 3rd, Kevin.
June 3rd. I wish well luck. I know the girl. I saw her walking around here earlier leading one of the horses.
Yes.
Now, Tony, it's a big deal to win 8 Onkaparinga Cups. Colin in his last year. Can he win the Great Eastern Steeple?
Well, Wolver Action, we expect him to run very well. He's very new at the steepling game, and I'm sure some of the hardened, seasoned steeplers are going to be very hard to beat, but he'll run well.
Run well. Well done, Tony, and I wish you well in June.
Thanks, Kevin. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Kevin. And you're watching Oakbank Live on Nine's Wide World of Sports, and Ray, the handicapper, got it right.
Certainly did. Number 1, Water Boatman, $3 the win, 85 cents the place. Second, number 2, Double Gin, 70 cents. And third, number 3, Merino Explorer, 75 cents. The popular Quinella, $2.10. And the trifecta, $12.80.
Well, the tension is beginning to mount here. Ken Cunningham is down on the parade ring. Let's see what's happening down there.
Thanks very much, Kimbo. Well, I can tell you one thing is for sure. I'll go home broke tonight. I can't back a winner to save my life. But, of course, the next one is the big event of the day, the one that everybody has come to Oakbank to witness. It's the 1990 Great Eastern Steeplechase, over 4,950 metres, 27 gruelling fences, and a prize money of $106,000. It's a big race. Let's now relive some of the Great Eastern Steeplechases of the past.
Coming together, little champion once again. It's Lord Rocky Red being tackled by Chocolate Royal. Lord Rocky Red in front, he's coming away now though. And Lord Rocky Red has gone through in the last little bit. And Lord Rocky Red is coming on the score about 4 lengths to Chocolate Royal. About 5 lengths away, fine advice, then Tornado's lad. Over the last, Pillar 2 all but lost his rider, and the leader is Dark Sharif by 5 lengths. Pillar 2 is second, then Walsing Hall and Kaimato, but Dark Sharif, who was last in the early stages, is coming away for a big win, and in the run of the line, it's all Dark Sharif going to score by 4 lengths to Pillar 2, 4 lengths further back to Walsing Hall. Further back to the field, then is Wayne Dewey. Over the last, John Bruin by 4, trying hard, Michelle's low, 10 lengths to Wayne Dewey, about 10 away, then is Gornham, but John Bruin wins the Great Eastern. John Bruin is coming away, a popular victory. John Bruin wins it by 8 lengths. Second home, Michelle's low.
Here's the last one. She's going to take out the double. She jumped it magnificently, Benite. And Benite is coming away for a powerhouse performance. What a great jumping mare she's proven to be. And Benite, to the plaudits of the huge crowd at Oakbank, has taken out the Dandy Hands. Great Eastern Steeplechase sprinting away at the finish.
They turn for home at Headford Town by about 10 or 15 lengths as they come down to the last jump. Headford Town is well clear. In second place, battling away is Battle So Big, and they're followed by Sing for Supper and then Moravian. But this New Zealand fencer has bolted in Headford Town, one of the easiest winners in the last 10 years. He's going to win by 100 metres. It's Headford Town a mile too good.
On the outside, flying off 2 or 3 lengths in front. In second placing, trying hard, the grey, the favourite Region. 10 lengths, Battle So Big. Here's the last. Oh, he's gone! He somersaulted over Fly North. He somersaulted over. Region lost his rider. He got tangled up with him. And it's now Battle So Big left in front. Battle So Big clear. Of in second placing on the inside, Bolt's Boy, and further back to Sands Pride, and then the riderless Region. But as they get to home, Battle So Big will win a sensational Great Eastern Dandy Hand Steeple. The leader is Royal Fierce. He's only got to jump the last. He's 3 in front of Region. And then came Gallywood over the last. Royal Fierce made a scoring jump on landing, but he landed clear. Region getting up on the inside, and Gallywood down the outside. Royal Fierce won by Gallywood, and Region the rail. Royal Fierce, Gallywood out deep. Region the rail. Region the favourite, drives through on the inside. He took the shortcut throughout. A beautiful ride, and the favourite's home in the Dandy Hands Great Eastern.
Headed then by Lazy River, but Spring Fortune will come to this one. Here's the last one. Spring Fortune comes to it, takes off, and he's jumping. He's about 5 lengths in front. Spring Fortune with 200 metres to go. Spring Fortune 5 lengths to Red Ray Line. A long gap in the field of Turret, who's battling on in third placing, but Spring Fortune has gone 15 lengths in front in the run of the line, and Spring Fortune will go to the post to score by a good 15 to 20 lengths.
But over the last, there he goes, he let him go, and it's Famous Amos, Oakbank's 88. He'll win the Great Eastern, the Dandy Hands for the dandy win. Famous Amos, River Amos will come on and score by 15 lengths or so. Second, the riderless horse Tara Ruler, forget him. Second, in fact, will go to Kurdu. Zamanoff, the Grand Old South Australian. Downcast 3 in front. He throws River Amos over. He can't take him back. Downcast has got for pulling the weights, and Browncast will win the Dandy Hands. Great Eastern. River Amos tried his little harder. He gets second, but beaten 6 or 7 lengths.
Race across the road, which is normally in use here. There's sand over the bitumen. Then they swing into the back straight, and that's where the fallen log is. And then they jump another couple. They reach the top of the hill, and down they come again. And there are several jumps down the side, and then into the home straight.
That's incredible. Now, just something in case whilst we're watching this race, correct me if I'm wrong. Now, if a jockey is to fall off his mount, and if both were to fall, if they get up, as long as the horse is okay and the jockey's okay, he can remount and still finish the race. And I believe that's happened.
It has been done before, yes. Of course, to do that, you'd have to be, 1, unhurt, 2, be able to catch the horse pretty quickly, 3, have the strength to get back up on again. And, of course, if there's still half a dozen or so others racing, there's not much point. But if there are only 3 left on your feet, it's certainly
it probably doesn't say a lot for the horse if you can catch it yourself. Not all that quick. Well, earlier in the week, Kevin Sattler spoke to a regular visitor here at Oakbank, Victorian trainer John Leake.
A regular visitor to Oakbank, back again for his 3rd year as Victorian trainer John Leake Jr. In 1988, John trained the midget mountain pony River Amos to win the Great Eastern Steeple. Last year, River Amos was a gallant second to local jumper Browncast in the big event. I caught up with John at Woodside, where he is stabling his visiting team, and asked him, what is it that keeps him coming back to Oakbank?
I think it's going to become an addiction, Kevin. I get over here each year, and the horses seem to get here and look around the hills of Oakbank and say, well, we're here to do another job.
Well, John, you made fame with River Amos. 2 years ago, you won with what we term the mountain pony, became the public favourite. And when he won his trial or steeple trial at Oakbank on Monday, you don't see people attending barrier trials or steeple trials start to clap, but they gave the little champ a great reception. Now, last year he got beaten. He got beaten because of weight?
Oh, no, look, nobody's ever really analysed how he went last year. He got beaten last year. He carried 67 kilos. They went faster last year than what they did in the previous year. When he won. And he pulled very hard. He did a mighty job. He did as good as winning last year as what he did the year before.
Now this year he's got 64 and a half.
Yeah, no, he's down a bit in the weights this year. Wandering Dukes pressed the weight down a bit because he's got 69.
But he'll be missing.
Well, he won't be there, so the weight's might go up half a kilo or something. But
that won't worry you.
I don't think it will. Like, he carried 67 last year, as I say, and carried that, so he'll carry that weight this year, won't he?
Now, his steeple school on Monday, I believe that's the 2nd school he's had at Oakbank since he arrived. Why did you school him on Friday? Last Friday?
Oh, just get him to do something. He likes it, he loves it. He loves jumping. And if you get him out there and get him jumping and he loves it, like he'd come down the hill in his trial and he just flew down the hill. Like, he just loves it. So, you know, we just do it for fitness for him and get his eye in. You know, like, he hasn't steepled this year. He's had 1 steeple at Flemington and he run home nicely. And, you know, steeplechasers got to jump. They use jumping muscles. They just don't have to, you know, like jump year after year. They've got to get fit to jump.
Right. Now, you've noticed they've changed the fences slightly. Do you think it's an improvement?
I think it's great, actually. It's a real steeplechase race now. Last year, there was horses. I had a horse in here last year that won the Von Duser Herc's Way. He jumped them like hurdles. So I really think that now it's brought it back to a steeplechase and not a cross between a hurdle and a steeple.
Right. Now, River Amos, I notice he carries a bandage on the off-fore fetlock joint. What's the problem?
He gave himself a bump there. There's no injury. It's just a bump, and all we're doing is keeping the bandage around it just to keep it...
as a precaution?
As a precaution, yeah.
Now, your other jumpers, you've brought one here called Benelong Point, who was very impressive in Monday in his steeple. What's the background to him?
Well, he came from Sydney. He's been a horse that we've taken through a hurdling campaign. He won a figure-8 steeplechase race at Mornington last season, and he was aimed at coming here this year, and he's here.
Would he make a mountain pony?
No, there's no mountain ponies around these days.
Now, did you buy him or have you leased him?
No, we've got a chap in Melbourne, Tony Hodson, who's a very good owner of mine, and his friend Bob McMahon. They own the horse together, and they raced the horse together, so they bought the horse and gave it to me to train. So I'm very lucky to have a horse of his ability here now.
There's a number 2 to River Amos.
Well, he won't be number 2, I'll tell you now. He'll go around the Von Duser, and I'll tell you what, they'll be chasing him for a long way.
Right. Now, what about the chestnut horse Spanish Minstrel? He won the Harry de Young hurdle last year. He had a fall in Monday's school. Was it his fault or what?
Well, he slipped on landing, so I suppose it's his fault that, you know, you've got to learn to use your feet. And I think the track might have been a little bit soft, so I'll give him an excuse, but here we are. They're tough, you know, they've got to get up, yeah.
And you've got a team of how many here to compete at the two-day Oakbank Carnival?
We've got 6 here.
6. Well, John, we wish you luck. You're a welcome visitor to this carnival. You're a great supporter of jumping races. And if River Amos does win the big event this afternoon, I know that the crowd will go wild and give him a hero's welcome. Probably a Melbourne Cup reception, but thanks for the time you gave us today, and welcome back to Adelaide.
That'd be good. Thanks very much.
Welcome back to Oakbank, and Ray, they're the men that hold the fate of owners, trainers and punters alike here at Oakbank this afternoon.
You've certainly got to admire the Little Blacks. First of all, to be a jockey, you've got to weigh about 60 kgs. You've got to have a heart like a lion and rubber for bones.
I'd like to say they're sitting on a very large bench there, but in fact, they're just not that tall.
There's great camaraderie between the jockeys, even though they'll be great rivals when they get out there. They all understand that they're members of a very select club, and here's one rider just dragging the chain a little bit.
And he's missed out on a seat for that effort.
But certainly you've got to admire them. They have tremendous courage, and nearly every jockey there has had a bad fall at one stage or another, and they bounce back for more.
Yes, there certainly have been some nasty falls over the years, and they are courageous people, and of course they're getting their photos taken here, and that's a little ceremony that's conducted every year at Oakbank, and one of those guys will go down in history as being the winner of the Great Eastern Steeple.
Well, Paul Shepardson, you must admire. He was almost killed here last year, been out of the saddle almost all the time, and only recently made his way back. He crashed at what is now the first jump.
Well, let's hope we don't see anything like that today. There are 16 starters. It's only the emergencies that are not taking their place. Let's have a look at the field for the Penfolds Great Eastern Steeplechase. And there's number 1, Curl of Success.
Well, Curl of Success was one of the early favourites for the Great Eastern, but a lot of people were disappointed with his run on Saturday in the Von Duser. He ran 3rd and was weakening at the finish, which is not traditionally a good sign.
And I suppose if we look at number 2, River Amos, you'd have to say he is the sentimental favourite here at Oakbank.
Certainly is. He's only a little horse. He was saved from the knackery. He was bought for $490. He's repaid his connections by winning $145,000 in stake money. He won 2 years ago, was runner-up last year.
You'd consider yourself a pretty useful judge of horse flesh, wouldn't you, picking out a horse like that? And good luck to the connections, and certainly trainer John Leake Jr. Well, number 3 is my selection. That is Believe, and I believe that'll win, because I believe if it doesn't, that I'm going to be in a lot of trouble today.
Ran on very strongly on Saturday, ran 2nd, finishing on very strongly behind Benelong Point in the Von Duser. He's a seasoned galloper from Victoria. Steve Jenkins understands him well, and he's very, very consistent indeed, and he's going to be one of those that are running the distance right out.
Well, number 4 is Colin Hayes' Big Chance. It's Wolver action, New Zealand bred.
He's only a rookie, really. He's had limited jumping races. He's won a couple of hurdles, and he's been rushed into the steeplechasing. Very relaxed, as you can see. He's heavily bandaged behind, and that indicates that he's been striking his hind legs with his front legs as he gallops, or even dragging them through the brush. So a little bit of a bark off at the back.
And he's a very good flat performer as well. Number 5 is Kua Prince. I was talking to connections down on the betting ring a little bit earlier, and they're quite optimistic.
Yes, he's been well seasoned for this. He's been in work for about 6 months with this race in mind. He's a good, strong horse. He'll be well back in the field early, but will run on strongly.
Number 6, Comicado, to be ridden by Craig Durden.
There he is, the wishy-washy grey. He's by Mikado, who's left a lot of good jumping horses and a lot of good police horses too. But Comicado has won a couple of steeplechases in South Australia lately, and is one in with the lightweight chance.
And number 7 is Commission Red, a 10-year-old out of Barrier 17.
Yes, he's been racing in Victoria for quite some time. He'll be seasoned for this, but he's been well beaten of late, and it's pretty hard to see him winning.
Now, the next horse is number 8, another New Zealand bred horse, Donny's Chance, apparently trialled very well, Ray, and there's been some smart money on this horse.
Yes, he certainly does have good form for this Donny's Chance, and I think he's one of the best chances in the race. Brian Constable is the rider. As you can see, he's wearing a boot on his near side 4. That's just for protection, but he looks very fit and well muscled up for this race.
And another horse that was bred to the east in New Zealand, number 9, Anagoni.
Yes, it's also schooled yesterday at the same time as Donny's Chance. Didn't impress, according to Kevin Sattler, and its form really has been, well, too disappointing to consider.
Well, number 10 at enormous odds is Blackton Boy.
Yes, Blackton Boy, almost out to write your own ticket odds. He's over 100 to 1. He did run 3rd in a steeple at Warrnambool recently, so he'll probably complete the course.
Yes, but that mightn't be enough. We look at number 11 and another pop that's over 100 to 1, and that is Bold Surge.
Bold Surge recently ran third in the steeplechase at Gawler, and wasn't disgraced in that, but he does look as though he's flying just a trifle too high.
Age shall not weary them. Number 12 is Contract, and he's a 12-year-old gelding.
That's amazing, isn't it? 12 years of age, a good, reliable galloper, still enjoys jumping, knows what it's all about. He's been placed here before, and last start third at Sandown. Wasn't that far behind, believe, and with the extra distance, he might be in with a chance, the old greybeard.
And a name that may appeal to some, number 13, Darkest Pleasure.
Yes, he's one of the South Australians' Darkest Pleasure. He's trained up at Gawler by Don Halliday. He does look as though he's got the task ahead, being a rookie steeplechaser, but he did run third behind Comicado recently.
And number 14 is a 11-year-old grey, Shane's Grey Boy.
Yes, I don't think he's without a chance in the race, Shane's Grey Boy. As you say, he's one of the older, experienced jumpers. He hasn't won a lot. He's really been involved in hunting, but at the same time, he'll keep up a good, steady pace and will jump safely.
And two horses remaining in the field. Number 15 at 150 to 1 is Symbol's Image.
Well, for Paul Shepherdson's sake, I'll be hoping that he gets around safely. He's not the worst horse in the race. He recently ran second at Casterton in a steeple, and that's not bad form for a race like this.
And number 16, the final horse, is a chestnut gelding, 6 years old, and is Tropical Joe.
Well, Tropical Joe, I don't think he's got any chance whatsoever in the event. He recently was well beaten at Murray Bridge, and I'd find it hard to consider him.
Well, there's the field. We'll let you make your selection, but we'll now go down to the parade ring with KG.
Thanks very much, Kim.
I believe number 3 just trotting away. There goes Wolver Action in with the goal with the black spots.
And in fact, River Amos still has not been put into the barrier yet.
There goes Believe in now, and there's River Amos. He's pretty relaxed. He's trotting around there. He is pricked. He's been around here before. He knows everything about the track.
And another one of the outsiders, Comicado, paying about currently about 15 to 1. Number 6 there in the Norwood colours in the red and blue. I doubt whether that's a good omen after Saturday, though, Ray.
Well, they could come a cropper as well, but of course they're the colours worn by Owen J. Starr, who was a champion 2-year-old and now a successful sire. And Comicado is a nuggety little fellow, isn't he?
He is really solid there in the hindquarters. And of course, number 5, Kua Prince, as we mentioned before, one of the local hopes. As I said earlier, I spoke to Connections down in the betting ring, and they were pretty nervous and excited, and good luck to them. There's a big prize. They're all in. Ron Paps is your commentator.
About to pop in the Penfolds Great Eastern Steeple. They're off. And a dashing sort of a start too. Symbol's Image dropped astern. Now here's the charge to the first fence. Going quickly, Bold Surge, and with them too, Believe and Curl of Success and Comicado. Just in behind those then as they clear the fence was Donny's Chance. In that division 2 came behind them River Amos outside of the Veteran Contract. Wolver Action next as they go to the next fence over that one. In behind them, well back in the field at that point, Darkest Pleasure, Symbol's Image, and now they go to the Shillabia Road jump. Further back, Darkest Pleasure with them went very wide. Blackton Boy, Commission Red. Getting back along the inside now, Symbol's Image, and well back to Tropical Joe, followed by Anagoni, and Shane's Grey Boy is last of all. They go to the log the first time in the first of 3 rounds, and Wolver Action made a mess of it. He lost about 3 lengths, and the leader, Famous Amos, has taken over. River Amos, the pint-sized pony's gone to the lead, and he led by 2 to Curl of Success. In third placing, Bold Surge on the inside of Comicado as they go to the next fence. Then Donny's Chance. Oh, he made an awful mess of that, Donny's Chance, and the rider went high in the irons. He tried to grab a skyhook, 2 lengths away to Kua Prince. Back along the inside running next as Wolver Action gains momentum again. Down on the rail was Contract. They were followed by Blackton Boy over the first of the downhill double. Coming to the second one, River Amos is well clear. Well back in the field behind Contract, then leading the second pack, Blackton Boy. Then Symbol's Image, followed by Darkest Pleasure. Then Commission Red, Tropical Joe, Shane's Grey Boy, and Anagoni's last. Here's the fence in the straight. And they're about to complete the first circuit, and the leader still is River Amos. He's a couple in front. Curl of Success getting up towards his inside, and Comicado is third. Around them, Wolver Action, they've dropped anchor. They've slackened off as they complete the first lap. They've got 2 laps of Oakbank to go in the Penfolds Great Eastern. Over on the inside, Curl of Success about equal third with Wolver Action now. Then going between horses, Believe. On his inside, Donny's Chance is recovering. 2 lengths, Bold Surge, Kua Prince back where they started, coming to what was the first fence, the first round. Simi's Image on the inside of Blackton Boy. Darkest Pleasure was next as they go over that fence. Then Tropical Joe. Anagoni made a mess, nearly spilled the rider. Commission Red's about 5th last.